I'm going to talk in this video about my spending time in college. And I was just taking classes and working and doing very normal stuff, but it was normal stuff that was to the extent of boring. I was very, very, very bored with what I was doing. I was working, and I was working hard in both my classes and in my work, but I was just sitting there thinking, man, is this it? I'm just going to college because I need to get a diploma because I'm the fear tells me that I'm going to be poor, and I really don't want to be poor. Because if you're poor, then you can't do things, and if you can't do things, you'll get sick, and once you get sick, well, you know what comes after you get sick? You die. And that's kind of the fearful thinking that we have, is that I I don't want this, so what I'll do is I'll go to college. Which, not that it was a bad thing, but it just didn't have a lot of meaning, and that's really what it lacked was a lot of purpose. I was just doing a bunch of different things that were all disconnected and didn't seem like they were going toward a centralized theme. I would go to class, and then I would go to work, and then I would do normal boring stuff, and it just didn't seem like it had any significance in the center. I hadn't really figured out why I was going to do it, other than some thing in the future that didn't really have any central idea of why. And it was tough. It's tough to motivate yourself to do well in your classes when you don't have the why over here about why you're doing it. You're just putting in the time because you don't want to be poor. And statistics show that people with college degrees, or at least a bachelor's, earn twice as much money in their career as people who just have a high school diploma. And so that alone is a good motivator to get the piece of paper. And so for me, it was a lot of spending time. But it came through Spanish classes, which I hated Spanish. Oh, it was the one class I dreaded the most in my major. And if I had known when I was choosing my major, which was humanities, that I was going to have to take 2 Spanish courses, I probably would have found another major that had 1 Spanish course. But that was the place, and it was the last place I would have thought in college that I got inspired to travel. And I tell you this story because it was that inspiration that that gave me a centralized goal to allow me to start investing my time. Because if you don't have a goal of what you're shooting for, then you can't really be investing. You're just putting in time until you find something worth doing. And what I'm going to talk about in the next video was what my time getting my bachelor's degree, the 2 years after I got my associate's degree, were like, and how that was completely different from all of this. I was doing all of these things, but they were all connected to a goal that I was investing in for the future. And the future was that I wanted to travel, and more succinctly, study abroad. I wanted to travel plus earn academic credits. So that was what I was investing my time for. Here, I didn't have that big goal. Humanities was a very general degree that didn't give me anything at the end that I really was saying, I'm really proud of this. And so the other thing that I need to mention really quickly about this time was, and this is really what got me thinking about it, I have to admit, was that there was no story. If somebody asked me, hey, what are you doing? I would have said, well, not too much. And it was this lack of story that pushed me in to setting a big goal, investing my time, and traveling, because I knew at the end of that time, even toward when people came up to me and said, so what are you working on? I could say, well, I'm working on this big goal, which is to travel and earn college credits. And so when you've got that, and that doesn't have to be your story, but just start thinking about whatever your story is and what you want to invest in, so that you don't spend time doing the same thing that doesn't really excite you.